Is your screen cracked? I had an interesting experience over the last couple of weeks. About 3 months ago, I ended up waking up, grabbed my phone, it was totally black, and somehow overnight the phone just died. So nothing that could get into it. It reminded me of how many second authentication programs there are because I couldn't authenticate from my phone. So I scurried down to the Verizon store. She said, "No, I can't get into your phone." And I said to myself, which I've said before with programs, "Oh, I wish I backed this up." And she said, "Well, actually, the default, which is interesting, for Verizon is we back it up. So you got to buy a new phone," which, I did. And then she took a few hours to do this, but she put back my 2,200 contacts and text messages and everything else. So that was fine. Taught me a lesson about backing up myself, though. So fast forward within the last 2 weeks. So I drop my phone. I look at my phone and I say, "Oh, geez, I cracked the screen." So I go down to the Verizon store fully expecting that I'm going to have to buy another phone, or at least give them the phone to be replaced under a warranty or something like that. And you know how much you rely on that phone today. So she says, your screen's not cracked. I said, "Yeah, it's cracked. Look." And I point out, you had to tilt it a little bit. She said, "It's not cracked." I said, "Yes, it is cracked." She said, "Look at my phone." And she puts her phone up and she shows me the same type of crack on her phone. And I said, "Oh, your phone is cracked too." And she said, "No, my phone's not cracked either." And I said, "Okay, I see about 10 cracks. What is it that you see that I don't see?" And she said, "Oh, I see that you have a screensaver protector on your phone." She pulls it off, shows me that the screen protector, how the engineering works on this, I have no idea, absorbs the cracks as opposed to your screen. And she put for $10 another one on, and my phone is fine. And it just reminded me so many times of going to someone who knows more than you and has an experience that you haven't had, that can save you all kinds of time, money, save a deal, etc. I had last night in the Q&A a mentee, and I had told him this twice before, said, "My chairman met with my industry expert candidates and ended up saying that he wanted to meet with them alone." I told him that was a big mistake. Don't let that happen. Tell him that you're inexperienced and you can learn from him and you want to be on those calls, and it's important that you understand communication across the group and be part of that. But he didn't do that. And so he let the chairman meet with these people. The chairman ended up also offering each of the people he talked to a spot on the board without advising or asking for the consent of the mentee. Told them they had 5% equity. That's wrong as well. And so the mentee said, "Well, what should I do?" And I said, "I already told you what to do. That ship sailed. But what I would be doing in this case is I'd find another chairman. He did things without your consent. He gave equity without your consent. He kept you from meetings. This is very likely a scenario where it's only happened once to a mentee that I've mentored, where the chairman and the industry expert decide, hey, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. We do. He's got 60% of this deal. Why don't we do it ourselves, and we can take that 60% between the two of us, or something like that. Now, he said, how can I make sure this doesn't happen again? And I said, ask those around you that have been there, done that, and then follow that advice. The mistake you made was you did ask me if it was a mistake. I told you yes. You chose not to pursue the path that I said, and you get the results you get. Now, that relates back to me thinking and was convinced that the course of action on my phone was that the screen was cracked and I'd have to get another phone. But I went to somebody who knew more than I did, Felt like all my Christmases came together when she told me, nope, you don't need another phone. Here it is. It's fixed. $10.50 later. So I've had other mentees that have literally changed one word in a discussion with the bank where they said that seller finance, seller equity can be part of our equity, and said to me, I say what you said. I said, I never used the word part because that indicates there's another part, which is why they're looking to you. And he said, oh, okay, yeah. So the next week he eliminated part and said, some banks have indicated that seller finance, seller equity can be our equity, and that certainly is advantageous. What's your bank's philosophy on that? And he said, I got 4 banks that said, yes, if the deal looks good and the DSCR is okay, blah, 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 that we can end up doing. And so one word makes the difference. He had I don't know how many calls where bank after bank turned him down to the point that he said, this doesn't work, Bruce. He makes a change based on experiences that I've had, lessons I've learned myself or through other mentees, and the results are different. So I would encourage you to, yes, you need to know the steps, but there are interactions that other mentees or I have had that will greatly influence your success. Those are 2 examples. This person whose chairman did what he did now has to reset the clock, go find a completely different board, and begin again. And that time is lost. Maybe a lesson learned. Early days, I don't know if it was learned. I thought that after the first discussion it was learned, but it wasn't, obviously. So be around those people that have been there and done that. If you need help beyond the steps, and you likely do, consider the group coaching that I do. Consider the VIP Mastermind. There's a big difference between those 2 programs, but depending upon where you are and the finances of it, take a look at those. The group coaching we're opening today for April to fill some spots that are there. So you'll see an email, I'm sure, on that, or just go over to brucewhipple.com and go under the coaching, and both the VIP and the group coaching is there. With respect to the VIP, you won't have an ability to sign up there because I want to talk to people to make sure they're a fit before I let them in that program. It's the best program that I run. So I hope that helps. I hope when you think about, is your screen cracked, that you recognize that sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and having a team around you, a mentor, an ability to ask questions real time, that can be exceptionally helpful and turn failure potentially into success. So no substitute for action. You need to know what to do, but you also need people around you whose experience and wisdom is born from experiences you don't yet have, and you don't have to learn them the hard way. So I hope that helps. And if you're looking for group coaching or VIP, again, go over to brucewhipple.com. The details are all there.